How's it going, everyone? This is George here, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's newest movie, his epic fantasy action film with swords and sandals, starring Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlie Theron, John Berthel, Robert Pattinson, John Leguizamo, and this is based off of Homer's epic about Odysseus, his mission to Troy, taking many years to get back home, the peril that him and his crew go on, him trying to find his way back, the regrets that he has, and learning what has transpired back at home, which is basically his wife and his son dealing with the suitors that want to marry his wife when in reality they just want to be king. So when it comes to Christopher Nolan, it's no surprise if you've watched my channel for a few years that I love Christopher Nolan movies. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. I love Oppenheimer when it came back. I do need to review his other movies, but I've probably mentioned on past streams or past reviews that I love his other movies. Inception's probably one of my top 20 favorite movies, along with The Dark Knight. I also love Memento. Interstellar is amazing. Even movies that aren't all that great or good, like Tenet, I still enjoy, even though that's not that great of a movie. But even his first movie, which is a bit forgetful for some people, Following, was still a pretty solid first movie. And hearing him taking on a epic movie with swords and sandals based on Homer's work, I was excited. And it was also exciting to hear that Matt Damon was going to be the lead actor, kind of similar to how Cillian Murphy, who was in several Nolan movies, finally got to be the lead in Oppenheimer. Same thing with Matt Damon. He was in a couple of movies like Interstellar and Oppenheimer. Now he gets the lead. We also get to see Tom Holland be in a Christopher Nolan movie for the first time, as well as Zendaya and John Leguizamo. We also have Anne Hathaway coming back. She was also in Interstellar with Matt Damon. And then we also get Robert Pattinson, who was in Tenet, coming in as well. And Robert Pattinson's going to have a big year because he's also got Dune Part 3 coming up. He was also in a movie earlier this year with Zendaya. But then comes, well, what is seen as controversial for some people, the casting choices Nolan made, which was Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy, bringing Elliot Page in the movie as well. A lot of people were flipping out. Elon Musk was calling to boycott the movie, claiming Lupita Nyong'o is not beautiful enough and other people, which is crazy because Lupita Nyong'o is a beautiful woman. But still, I trust Nolan. In fact, I would probably say the one casting problem I've ever had with Christopher Nolan, and it actually was many years after the movie came out that I realized I had a problem with. It just never sat right with me for many years, was when Maggie Gyllenhaal took over the role of Rachel Dawes in The Dark Knight when Katie Holmes didn't return. Hot take, I prefer Katie Holmes over Maggie Gyllenhaal in that role, but whatever. It's in the past. That movie's going to be 20 years later, and I still love The Dark Knight. It's one of my favorite movies. But I trust Christopher Nolan. He's never disappointed me, even when a movie doesn't live up to the expectations like Dark Knight Rises or Tenet. And The Odyssey did what I expected it to do. It was a movie that, despite being 2 hours and 52 minutes long, never had a dull moment. At times was quickly paced, and when it was slowly paced, it did what it had to do when it's slowly paced, because you got to build up, you got to explain what happened in the past, why characters feel this way, like why Odysseus feels this way or has this regret. Even when it's slowly paced, it works very well for the movie. I was engaged, I was entertained, and I was never bored. And I get it, when it comes to long movies, sometimes people get bored. I know some people don't like long movies. And I get that. I totally understand that. But this is one of those long movies that I was just very invested in, similar to Oppenheimer. That's the effect Nolan has, even in a long movie, because he's done other long movies like Interstellar. He always finds a way to keep you engaged. He does such a great job with that. And his craft, I just love Nolan's craft, because this movie, no green screen, they were filming on location. That includes the boat scenes. They were actually in these boats filming in the sea, in the water. That's the dedication of Christopher Nolan. And at a time when directors have gotten used to doing green screen, relying on green screen, which I get it, it had to happen in the early 2020s because of COVID. Certain places you couldn't film, studios wanted to get back to work. It was something that clearly Marvel was doing a lot of, and I think it still does a lot of it. But Nolan doesn't do that. He films on location. And he also, the practical work that he does in this is remarkable. The Cyclops, being an animatronic puppet, looks incredible. It looks like a real Cyclops. It looks more realistic than some of the visual creatures from other fantasy movies. I love the Harry Potter movies, but that Cyclops looks better than anything from any Harry Potter movie, even the best Harry Potter movies with the best practical and visual effects. That was truly incredible work from him. The Trojan horse. Nolan really made a 40-foot Trojan horse. And yeah, maybe there was some visual work to enhance a few things, but if it was probably like a small bit of enhancement work. Everything was practical, and he did such a great job with that. This movie is truly remarkable from the settings, the costumes, the action, and the elements that Nolan puts in. Like, there's a few horror elements in this movie that makes me really want Christopher Nolan to direct a horror movie for a sex movie. I remember there were rumors that before it was announced that it was going to be the Odyssey, that Nolan was going to do a horror movie. I hope he still does a horror movie one day. I know he said recently he wants a 3-year break, but I do hope when he gets back to directing, he does a horror movie because we're in this horror renaissance. But anyways, the stuff with the Cyclops was excellent. Horror. Minor spoiler, when they go on an island and Odysseus sees what is happening to some of the members of the crew. That is great horror in there. And then when they get to the next place afterwards, there's some great horror elements in that next place that they have to go. It's done so well. I really hope Nolan does a horror movie down the road. And the performances were incredible. Matt Damon, I love Matt Damon. I think he's a great actor. Fantastic performance. He should definitely get some consideration for the Academy Award. Same with Anne Hathaway as his wife Penelope. She is clearly the most stressed out character in this movie between the hordes of suitors, being without her husband for many years. The pressure to remarry or not is clearly getting to her. She deserves some Academy consideration. And I would definitely say the other one. This might be a surprise, but if you watch the movie, you might understand why I'm going to say this. I think John Leguizamo should get some supporting actor consideration. To me, he gave the third best performance in the movie. And I always liked John Leguizamo as an actor. I always thought he was good. He was incredible in this movie. He played Odysseus' mentor, and he does such a great job playing this character. Robert Pattinson plays the slime ball that he's clearly courting Penelope. He clearly wants the throne, but he also hates Odysseus' son, played by Tom Holland. He does such a great job playing the villain of this movie. And Tom Holland, I'm not going to lie, when Tom Holland first appears on the screen, like his first couple scenes, I was worried he was going to be like how Keanu was in Bram Stoker's Dracula. If you watch my review on that, you would know that while I think everyone in that movie gave an excellent performance, Keanu stood out and was not that good. But Tom Holland, as the movie progressed and as his character arc progressed, his acting also progressed. And I think he did a great job. And I hope after this movie, he takes on more serious roles like this. Hopefully Nolan works with him again. It seems like they enjoyed working together and respect each other a lot. So hopefully maybe Nolan will put Tom Holland on that list of actors he wants to work with again. Zendaya is not in the movie all that much as Athena, but when she is, she does a very good job. And the impact that Athena has on Odysseus, and you can see the facial reactions of Matt Damon and the regrets that he goes through and how certain things haunt him. Those scenes are portrayed so well. Now let's get to the controversial stuff, or the stuff that people think is controversial, because I don't. Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy. She's only in the movie for like a few minutes, but she looks stunning. She does a very good job. That one moment that the haters are taking pictures of and putting on Twitter saying that she looks ugly. First of all, that those screenshots are of Lupita Nyong'o playing Helen of Troy's twin sister, and those are moments where her twin sister in the movie is going through emotional moments where she's raging out. And obviously, no matter how pretty or handsome a person may be, if you're raging out, you're not going to look so pretty and handsome. So of course they pick the scenes where she looks at her worst and to say she's not beautiful, but when you see her for most of the movie, she is clearly beautiful. And Elliot Page, he's not in the movie all that much, but it's more so the impact of his character, what happens to his character despite his few minutes of screen time, and the effect it has on the rest of the movie. And I am hearing some people trying to move the goalposts and saying, well, the character's impacts are ruining the movie. It's like they're only in the movie for less than 10 minutes when you combine their screen time. Like, it's not that deep. I would say no one in this movie gave a bad performance. There's obviously some actors that give it more than others, particularly Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, and John Leguizamo, but everyone does such a fantastic job. Ludwig Göransson, sorry if I mispronounced that name, puts together another great score. He seems like he's Nolan's new composer for his movies, which is fine because he does such a great job. Although I still love Hans Zimmer's scores for Nolan movies, but whatever. But the cinematography looks incredible. Setting pieces look incredible. There's a few moments where I got emotional in this movie, or almost got emotional. And the fact that Nolan was able to bring that out is incredible. Do I think this is like 100% perfect? No, I'm not going to say that because, again, that thing that people bring up from the trailers about the modernized dialogue, a few moments it does sound a bit cringe, and yet it's those moments in the trailers, Robert Pattinson saying to Tom Holland, "You're pinning for a daddy that you never met," and Tom Holland saying, "My dad will come back." I feel like those were really the only couple lines of dialogue that I did cringe, but I was kind of expecting it after the trailer. And luckily, most of the dialogue, even if it sounds modernized, does come across as delivered a lot better than those couple lines of dialogue. But again, that doesn't ruin the movie for me. The reality is that Christopher Nolan once again made another excellent movie that I think is going to win a ton of awards at the Academy Awards. I don't know if it's going to win Best Director, but considering that we have no idea what the rest of the year is going to look like there's some movies that I'm anticipating that I think will get some buzz at the Oscars next year. Tom Cruise has that new movie coming out that I think is going to get some Oscar buzz as well. But with the exception of maybe that movie, I don't really see anything else so far standing out. Like, yeah, Doom Part 3 looks like it's incredible, and that could turn out to be my favorite movie of the year. Same thing with Avengers Doomsday. But Dune doesn't really get a lot of attraction for the Academy Awards, even if this one turns excellent. I think this one has to have a Return of the King kind of effect to really, I think, get some Oscar consideration. Doomsday's not going to get any, even if Avengers Doomsday is great. But I really think the Odyssey is going to do well this upcoming award season. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nolan does win another Oscar this year. But yeah, from the costumes, the cinematography, the practical effects work, not relying on green screen, filming on location. They're going to all these different places to film. They're going to Greece, they're going to Italy, they're going to, I think it was like Morocco or areas occupied by Morocco that they were doing filming. Like, Nolan's going all out. And the respect that he has for this art and trying to preserve film is incredible. And he does it in such a calm, respectful way. Like, when he's responding to the backlash, he does it in a way where it comes across as calm, respectful, but yet clearly calling out the ignorance. And I've just got a lot of respect for this man. Is The Odyssey my favorite Christopher Nolan movie? No. One day I gotta do a stream ranking the Nolan movies. I also gotta review the Nolan movies I haven't seen yet. There's a good chance I might be seeing this movie again in theaters real soon. but I feel like this movie's kind of up there with Oppenheimer, Batman Begins, and The Prestige. It's like for me, my top three are The Dark Knight, Inception, and Memento. And then I feel like there's like a four-way tie for fourth place between Oppenheimer, The Prestige, Batman Begins, and now The Odyssey. And that just tells you how amazing of a director Christopher Nolan is. Like if I was to do a Mount Rushmore of directors, Nolan is going to be on that Mount Rushmore. But yeah, The Odyssey, I'm going to give it the grade that I gave Oppenheimer a few years ago, that I still stand by with Oppenheimer, as well as Batman Begins 4 years ago when I reviewed that movie. I'm going to give The Odyssey an A+. This is my favorite movie of 2026 so far. So far, my top four movies of 2026 so far would be The Odyssey, Project Hail Mary, Obsession, and Toy Story 4. Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out in a couple of weeks, which also gives The Odyssey another weekend to dominate. This movie's doing fantastic at the box office. That's great to see. We, of course, still have Doomsday and Doom Part 3 coming out later this year. But yeah, right now, the Odyssey, go see The Odyssey. It's worth seeing in theaters. It's worth seeing on the biggest screen that you can. Oh, yeah, I've got to add one thing. The sound editing, it feels like Nolan finally fixed his sound editing mistake. He used to have that sound problem with some of his movies where, the movie score and the sounds are too loud and it's hard to hear certain characters. That is avoided in here. I noticed that he began fixing that with Oppenheimer. Here, it's fixed. This has one of the better sound mixings and editing of a Christopher Nolan movie. But yeah, A+ for The Odyssey. Go check it out. Ignore what the haters are saying. And the thing is, people are making such a big deal about accuracy and all that. There's been plenty of movies that have come out that have inaccuracies from its original literature. Jurassic Park has so many differences from book to movie, but yet people still love the movie. The Lord of the Rings movies have so many differences from book to movie, but we all still love Lord of the Rings. Same thing with the Harry Potter movies. So many differences between book and movie, and yet we still love them. No one bats an eye. But when the Odyssey does certain things differently, everyone's freaking out. Like even when Dune Part 2 did certain things completely different from the original Dune book, people weren't flipping out like this. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Odyssey? Let me know in the comments down below. And what's one of your favorite Christopher Nolan movies? You could let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share this with someone that is a Christopher Nolan fan, that's a fan of the Odyssey, a fan of Sword and Sandal movies, of epic fantasy movies. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.